Okay. So, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Chapter 2 is called as Summary of Gita, Gita Saransh. You know, when if someone goes to watch a movie, they have a trailer of the movie. It is like that. This is a trailer of Bhagavad Gita. The whole Bhagavad Gita is summarized in chapter 2. The whole. And Krishna is going to introduce different concepts, no details, but different concepts. This chapter has the information about the quality of the soul, though. So many shlokas to be memorized. I have a whole list. If you can write down, I forgot to write it down. I will share it in the group. This is the chapter where we have to memorize, not have to, where we may consider to memorize a lot of shloka. Shloka number 7, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20, 22, 23, 27, 30, 40, 41, 44, 45, 46, 50, 62, 63, 64. I will share it in the WhatsApp group, okay? You don't have to worry about it. So this is a revision from chapter 1, what we studied. Verse 1, Dhritarashtra was inquiring from Sanjaya, what did they do? Kim akurvata. Then Duryodhana's fear was elaborated in verse 2 to verse 11. Mahatim chamum vyodham. Blowing of the conch shells 12 to 19. Hridyani vridharayet. And then Arjuna's observation when he told Krishna to bring his ratha in the middle of the two armies. Senayor bhayor madhye ratho sthapita me achita. Then Gandivim Shamshate Hasta, his bow was slipping from his hand. And then Arjuna gives 5 reasons not to fight. Aprakritiram ashastram. So, what were the 5 reasons? Can someone raise hand? One person I will allow. What were the 5 reasons? And if they are only able to say partial, then I will carry on and I will take over. Only one person allowed. Okay, Priya Subramaniam. Yes, Mataji. What were the 5 reasons? Unmute yourself, Mataji. Okay, Gauri Kaniktar. Hare Krishna. You can unmute yourself. What were the 5 reasons that Krishna didn't, Arjuna said, I'm not going to fight? There is a delay. One last person I'm going to request. Varshini Hari Kumar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what were the 5 reasons?
Compassion, no enjoyment, sin, family tradition,
Compassion, no enjoyment, family tradition, sin, indecision. Very good. Excellent. Thank you. Yes. So compassion. Krishna, they are the objects of my compassion. Then no enjoyment. If I kill them, who will I enjoy with? The whole thing will be tainted with blood. Sin, it is sinful to kill your elders or your brothers. Then if the elders are gone, who is going to carry over the family dynasty? And I'm undecided. So, sorry, Krishna is going to answer all the things. This is the summary of chapter 2. So compassion, Arjuna gave reason in first chapter 28 verse to verse 30. Compassion, I don't want to fight. Krishna will answer from verse 11 in second chapter to verse 30, giving him the knowledge. We are not the body. Your compassion is pointing towards a wrong object. And I will explain more. Then the next reason Arjuna gave, I don't want to fight because there's not going to be any enjoyment. Then the Karma Kand. Krishna gives a reason from verse 31 to 37, which come under the category of Karma Kanda. You are a Kshatriya, it is your duty to fight. Even if you die on the battlefield, you're going to go and enjoy the heavenly kingdoms. And if you win, then there is a big kingdom waiting for you to enjoy. Then Arjuna gave another reason, fear of sinful activities. So it's sinful. So Krishna is going to give that devotional service, there is no sin. in verse 33 of second chapter, and then verse 38 to 53. Then the indecision, I'm coming here first, that I am indecided. Then Krishna is going to give the answer in 41st verse. Serve the Lord with firm determination. Vyavasatmika buddhir ekehe Guru Nandana. Then Sthita Dhir Muni, he's going to explain a person who is in a pure transcendental consciousness. 2.54 to 2.72 verse. And the other reason he gives is the destruction of the family dynasty. Krishna is going to give answer to that question in the next chapter, third chapter, verse 18 to 26. Be a role model to prevent Varna Shankara. Varna Shankara means unwanted population. This is in a nutshell a view. So Krishna in 2.6 verse, Arjuna is going to surrender to Krishna. This verse only 2.7. कार्पण्य दोषो पहता स्वभावा प्रच्छामि त्वं धर्म समुद्ध चेता यश्रेयस्यान् निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्ते अहं साधि मां त्वं प्रपन्नम. So now I am confused about my duty and I have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me. So Arjuna is speaking this to Krishna, that Krishna, I have given you the reasons. My heart is overwhelmed. There is weakness in the heart, weakness. He says, I am confused about my duty. Means Prabhupada writes in the purport, Arjuna knows that it is his duty to fight. Duty is a duty. It is his duty to fight. Arjuna knows that. But he is confused now, whether he should fight or whether he should not fight. So whenever we have a confusion, we have to approach an authority to ask to clear up our confusion, right? That way, Arjuna is going to surrender to Krishna now. And now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. That is a sign of an intelligent person. The intelligent person is going to approach a bona fide authority to ask answers, to seek answers for their problems. It's not that they're going to sit with the problem, or they're going to procrastinate the problem, or they're going to figure out that what can I do, because there's no way he's going to be able to know, because he himself is inflicted with confusion. And over here, this is a turning point in Bhagavad Gita, because so far Arjuna and Krishna were talking as friends, but now Arjuna is saying that I am a disciple and a soul surrender unto you. So now they're going to be teacher and student. The talks are going to be more serious. Krishna is going to assume the role of a teacher. The talks are more serious. And this is a sign of a deva. An asura don't do that. A deva, a person with divine qualities, with a fine intellect, will go and seek out a spiritual master, that I am in problem. Can you help me? So you see, Arjuna is looking all confused and bewildered, and Krishna is looking confident and calm. That's how a teacher is. So now Krishna is going to speak, but before Krishna speaks, we have to know why we should hear Krishna. What is it in Krishna that I have to hear from Krishna? I can hear from anybody, right? Why Krishna? Why authority? What is it in Krishna that makes him so special? So this is also explained in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, that I believe what I see. So many people, 18 years I'm preaching, and so many people tell that I will only believe in God if the God comes in front of me and tells me that I'm God. So God comes in front of my eyes and then tells me that I am God. Then I will accept God. This is what we get when we preach. So that's a very proud heart. Because even if Krishna comes right now in front of us and says, Krishna, I'm God, how many of us are ready to accept it? Krishna was personally present for 120 some years on earth, right? How many of them really knew that Krishna is God? Very, very few people knew and accepted him as God. Others were taking him either as their enemy, like Kansa, or they were taking him as a common human being. Or maybe some person with some divine powers, but not God. Why? Because I believe what I see works when your vision is impeccably perfect. Our vision is not perfect. Prabhupada often quotes this, that we have an eyelid. You see the eyelid, this eyelid. How many of us have seen our own eyelid without the help of a mirror? Right there, right? It's right there. So I am not even able to see my own eyelid, that I'm carrying it for the lifelong without the help of a mirror or a light. Or if it is dark, I cannot even see my own hand. The vision is so imperfect. Then how can I see Krishna? And then this is explained. So who is Krishna? If I, okay, one person again, please raise hand. What do you see in this painting? What do you see in this painting? Very quickly. You are raising hand in the video, one Prabhu. Okay, you unmute yourself. What do you see in this painting?
The vast expanse of universe. Hare Krishna.
Okay. 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 Thank you, Prabhu. So I ask this question, so I get very many answers. So this, okay, he's seeing a vast expanse of universe. Somebody is seeing a water body like a river or sea, and then there's some hills, then there's some clouds, and then there are some small trees here. Like there's a vague idea. Let's see that you're driving on a highway, and I tell you to look on your right side, and this is the scenery. So now I tell you that park your car, get down from your car, and go more near to the scenery. Now what do you see? Yes, anybody? Mahesh, Hare Krishna. Yes, you can unmute yourself. What do you see? Yes, thank you so much. So now I tell you, okay, now go and you see a tree on the top of a mountain. And I see, okay, now go more near, go trekking, go on the top of the hiking, go hiking and go on the top of the mountain, go more near to the tree. Right now there is an idea that from the idea of having some scenery to an object inside that scenery, a tree. Now I'm telling go more deep in the sea. I'm sorry, on the tree. And then what do you see? What do you see? Yes, Gauri Connector. Yes, Mataji. What do you see? Okay, Rajeshwari. Hare Krishna. So what do you see?
Parrot.
Yes,
Parrot.
thank you, Mataji. Yes, so a parrot eating a fruit, right? So from this vision, go more close, see an object, and then go more close, see something inside that object. This is how it is explained. Sorry, in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, third chapter, I think it's verse 21. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahma iti paramatma iti bhagwan iti shabdate. So everybody is not surrendering to Krishna in equal manner. Everybody is not. Everybody is surrendering to Krishna according to their own level of surrender. And Krishna is also reciprocating to the degree that I am surrendering. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tateva bhajami aham. So there are three levels described in understanding God. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmaniti paramatma iti bhagwan iti. The three levels. Brahman means just somebody wants to just realize God as an energy, like a Brahman effulgence, no form. Okay, and then the next level, the more intelligent level is Paramatma. That what is the source of this form? So that is Paramatma feature, which is in the heart. From Paramatma iti, and then the highest level of God realization is Bhagwan iti, which is like going and understanding Krishna as a person. This painting is so beautiful. This is parrot Krishna. So Krishna is a person. Krishna has Venum Kalantam Aravinda Dalayat Aksham Barha Masham Tamasitam Buddha Sundarangam Andarpa Kotika Maniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Krishna is person. Krishna has bluish hue, color of body. Krishna has like peacock feather. Krishna has a flute called Venu. So another example I'll give. It's not very difficult. Let's say somebody says it's daytime. Now there are three levels of understanding that it's a daytime. One is just see the sunlight outside. Okay, you see a sunlight and then you say figure out it's day. More intelligent person will go and inquire where is this sunlight coming from. So they look high in the sky and they see a disc-like structure calling sun. So the sunlight is compared to Brahman effulgence. The source where it is coming from, someone lifts their head and see in the sky, that's compared to sun. I mean the sun which is there, which is compared to Paramatma realization. But the most intelligent person will try to enter the sun planet and meet sun god, who is the source of both, who's maintaining the planet and who's also the source of the sunlight. So that's Bhagavan feature. Okay, so Krishna is realized in three, and Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead because he is the source of Paramatma and Brahman feature, which is very difficult for Mayavadis to understand. So first question Arjuna asked is, I'm not going to fight because compassion. These are the objects of my compassion, Krishna. I'm not supposed to kill my family. And Krishna is addressed as Madhusudana in that verse. And so Prabhupada writes there, and Arjuna is saying, Krishna, you also killed, but you killed a demon called Madhu. You did not kill your family member. You did not kill your guru. You did not kill your friends. You did not kill your cousins. You killed a demon called Madhu. So why are you engaging me and telling me to kill my family? So Krishna is answering now. And from verse 11 to verse 30, the qualities of the soul are described. And these are, we have taken two important verses, but we can memorize all the verses from 11 to 30. Krishna says, Dehino asmin yatha dehe, kaumaram yavanam jara, tatha dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namoyati. This is very nice verse. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. So, see, there is a soul in the body. This spark is considered is compared to the soul, which is seeing the body. It sees the body. Dehino asmin yatha dehe. One who is in the body and sees the body going through these changes. What are the changes? From boyhood to youth to old age. Boyhood to youth to old age. And then what happens? Then when the body is no more able to contain the soul leaves that body and goes to another body, and this is called transmigration of the soul. We don't have to die to transmigrate. This is already happening. If I ask all of you, can you go back to the fetal body, the body where you were in the womb of your mother, this body where I'm pointing out? Can anyone do that? No. It's a change. It's not a growth. It is a change. It has changed. The body has changed. Okay, if I tell you there's so many children in this class I'm seeing. Okay, children, go back to this baby who's crawling, 9-month old. You were here, right? Some point you were here. So now go back. If you're here right now or here right now, go back to this form of the body. You won't be able to because it's already transmigrated. The soul has subtle transmigration is going on. And when somebody grows old, the body deteriorates and then the soul leaves and then the accepts another body. And the self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Nainam chiddanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledyanti appo, na shoshati maruta. The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor can it be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by wind. So Krishna is telling Arjuna that you are saying that you're not going to fight because of compassion, but you're applying compassion in the wrong direction. And Srila Prabhupada writes that when a person is drowning, let's say the person is drowning, okay, so what is more important, to save the person or to save the shirt of the person? What is more important? Yes, I will allow one person. What is more important, to save the person or to save the shirt of the person? Aditi Venkatesh, yes, Mataji. What is more important?
To save the person.
Sure, you don't have to save the shirt. The shirt will be gone.
No, Mataji, we have to save the person.
Yes, thank you so much. Perfect answer. Like that, yeah, you are saying that your grandfather Bhishma will die, but the soul is never dead. These were the type of astras or weapons which were used in Mahabharat, made of water, made of earth, made of fire. These were all the weapons. So Krishna is saying that the soul is spiritual in nature and material things can never touch the soul. So Krishna is saying that you have to see where the compassion has to be applied in real. And the compassion has to be applied to the soul of your grandfather. But that does not mean that now we got a liberty to kill anyone and everyone. That does not mean that. That does not mean that, okay, now I can kill an animal and eat the animal because this animal is not body, animal is soul, right? Or I can kill anyone because they're not body, they're the soul. No, it does not mean that. What happens is that all of us, all the living entities, not only human beings, animals, are also going through the evolution. They have a set, we all have a set period of time. The soul has a set period of time that the soul has to stay in the body. But if anybody artificially checks that period by killing, by disturbing, by destroying, then they are committing a sin. Krishna is set a certain amount of time that a soul has to live in the body. And if you check it, then you're checking Krishna's decision, and then it's a sin. It's unlawful. And then the person has to suffer. There is suffering waiting. But Krishna himself is saying it to Arjuna. And then the other reason Arjuna gives, I'm not going to fight, is because it is no enjoyment. Krishna, even I'm going to kill my family members. I am supposed to enjoy with my family members, and the family members are going to be dead and gone. So who am I going to enjoy with? So Krishna answers that Kshatriyas, if you die on the battlefield, because it is your duty to fight, then you're going to enjoy the heavenly planets. And if you win, then you're going to enjoy the earthly planet. The whole earth planet will be yours. So hato va prapashe swargam jitva va bhokshashe mahim tasmad uttishta kanteya yudhava krita nishchayaha. O son of Kunti, where either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly planet. Therefore, get up and fight with determination. See, this is another myth in spirituality that we most commonly hear, is that spirituality is for people who are retired, who have nothing else to do in their life, who are done with their duties, who have had fulfilled their family responsibilities or social responsibilities. That's what the most common thing we hear when we preach. Sounds very nice, right? But that's not what Krishna is saying. Krishna is giving instructions to Arjuna in the middle of a battlefield, and he's telling him, get up and fight with determination. He's not saying that go to the forest. Actually, Arjuna wants to go to the forest. Arjuna wants to go because of the weakness of his heart. He says, it's better to live by begging. It's better to live in the forest. I don't want to fight. And Krishna is telling him, get up and fight. Nowhere I have come across in whole Bhagavad Gita, whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, whole Srimad Bhagavatam, everything that Prabhupada has translated, nowhere have I come across where it was written that actually spirituality is for person who have nothing else to do, or in other words, armchair philosophy. No, spirituality is for the person who has a sharp intelligence. Sumedha. Krishna consciousness is Yajanti Sumedha Shaha. One who worships Krishna with intelligence is the most intelligent person. Chaitanya Charitamrita says that. So get up with determination. Now this answer comes under the category of Karma Kand. Karma Kand means that I do an activity and I enjoy or suffer. You know, like some people do sacrifices, charities, right? Because they want to do it because there's a motive behind it. The motive is like, okay, I'm going to give charity, then I will, my ancestors will benefit, or I will be benefited after my death. So that's Karma Kanda, where I do something for my own enjoyment. It's not Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means doing an activity for the enjoyment of Krishna. Karma Kanda. So Krishna is giving an answer from Karma Kand philosophy here, that you will enjoy either heavenly planets or earthly kingdom. So get up and fight. There is no reason for you not to fight. And then he says, now you want to go to the forest. You don't want to fight. You want to live by begging. So you're going to leave the battlefield and you are a Kshatriya. So what are you going to do about the infamy that's going to follow you? You see, avacha vadamscha bahun vadishyanti tava hitaha. Nindantastava samarthyam tato dukkhataram no kim. Means your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? So Krishna is saying that you're a Kshatriya, means you are a man of honor. And if your honor is affected, then this is better than death. It's better than death because you are running away. The enemies, Duryodhana, Shakuni, everybody who's in the battlefield, they're not going to say that Arjuna is left the field because he's very compassionate, because he's very affectionate towards us. No, they're going to say you left the field because you're scared, because you are not capable, because you're impotent. So these words will follow you. Are you ready? Are you ready for the insult? Because this is going to be painful. So Krishna is encouraging, again Karma Kanda, okay? This is Karma Kanda. So this is summary of our whole Bhagavad Gita. We are going to discuss each and everything, Karma Kand, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga in detail from chapter 3 onwards. And then the next reason he gives is sinful activity. You know, it's a sin to fight against your family members, to kill your grandfather, to kill your teacher. It's a sinful activity. Okay, Krishna gives answer. In verse 38 to 53, he's gonna give the answer. Neha bhikama nasho asti pratyabhayo na vidyate swalpamapi asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. So memorize at least last two lines of this verse. Okay. Swalpam api asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Means in this endeavor, there is no diminution and there is no loss. Little bit of activity done can save one from the greatest danger. These are the example. For example, Lord Hanuman. Lord Hanuman went to Lanka to find out Mother Sita, right? And to give her the message of Lord Rama. And he was caught. So when he was caught, he was brought before Ravana, and they punished him because they could not kill him because it is not against the ethics to kill a messenger. So the punishment was put his tail on fire, right? Now Lord Hanuman used the opportunity and killed the whole Lanka. Somebody can say that why is he killing the whole Lanka? Why is he killing and burning? I'm sorry, burning the whole Lanka. Why is he burning the house of the inhabitants? Like, you know, in the city. If only Ravana is at fault, just burn Ravana's palace. Why are you burning the houses of the other people? It's sinful. Someone can say that, right? But he's celebrated. He is celebrated. We worship him because of that activity. We all adore him. Why? Because he did it for Lord Rama. Because devotional service is so powerful that there is no sin. It's a sin cannot touch if someone is really doing a devotional service. Or this is another person, Vibhishan. Now Vibhishan is brother of Ravana. Someone can say that it is sinful to go against your own brother, and not only go against your own brother, but also leak his secrets to another enemy of your brother. Someone can say that, right? Vibhishan is leaking the secrets of Ravana to Lord Rama. It could be sinful. No, it is not sinful because it is done for Krishna. It is Lord Rama and Krishna are the same. So anything that is done for Krishna, it has to be done under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. I cannot concoct in my head and give a validation to my activity that, okay, I'm doing it. Then that's adharma. That's not religion. But Vibhishan is celebrated for his activity. And this is another story from Upanishad. There was this mice or hamster or rat, whatever you want to call it. That rat was very fond of eating the cherries. So what happened one day that the rat went at the altar where the deities were, and there was this lamp which was burning. Lamp was burning, and the hamster or rat or mice thought that the wavering light of the lamp is something which is eatable. So it jumped into the diya. It jumped into the lamp. What happened in the meantime? That it saved the lamp from going away, and it died. See, it jumped. It jumped not to serve Krishna, but it jumped to save the lamp from. I'm sorry, to eat. But then, because of the fire, the lamp, the fire of the lamp, the mice passed away, got burnt and died. So Krishna took it that that lamp, that rat gave up its life to save my lamp, so the rat got liberation. He did not even go to serve Krishna. He just went to eat. He thought that the wavering light is a food, but Krishna took it that that this person died serving me. So Krishna gave liberation. Same with Putana. Putana came to kill Krishna, but Krishna took it that she gave me her milk, so she is my mother. So Putana got the same position as Mother Yashoda. So Krishna always takes the best out of us. Destruction of the family dynasty. He says that, okay, if my family is gone, then I will be, then who will I enjoy with? And the family is gone. There is no culture. If there's no culture, there are no elders who can give us a culture. Then the woman will get contaminated, and then there'll be Varna Shankara. Varna Shankara means unwanted population, which will come out. So he's giving all these reasons. I'm not going to fight. So Krishna gives the answer. And this is in 3rd chapter, so verse 24. If I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. That chapter tomorrow we will discuss that Krishna is saying that there is no work for me, but I still work. Like, this is Govardhan Leela. Krishna is lifting the Govardhan hill. Why is he doing it? Because he has to show it by example. A prescribed duty has to be done. So he's encouraging Arjuna that it is your prescribed duty according to the Shastras that you fight. Actually, you're going to create Varna Shankara or unwanted population by not following your prescribed duty. As much as if I don't do it, then I will also create Varna Shankara. And indecision, finally, right? He says that I'm not going to fight, but I'm undecided. So what's happening in this photograph? Can someone raise hand? One person I'll give a chance. And please unmute yourself fast. What's happening in this photograph? Can someone tell me? Ishvara Narayana. Very nice name. Hare Krishna. Yes. What's happening in this photograph? You're unmuted. You can talk.
Yeah. Here, under the observation of his guru sage, the student is taking aim with his bow and arrow.
Okay, thank you so much. So this is Arjuna, Arjuna and Dronacharya. So Dronacharya is teaching Arjuna a focused shooting of the arrow. And then there is this bird. So Dronacharya instructed Arjuna to shoot the eye of the bird. So when Arjuna was focusing, Dronacharya asked him, what do you see? You see, there's a bird behind, we have shown you. What do you see? So Arjuna answered, I see the eye of the bird. He did not say, I see the beak, I see the head, I see the yellow color, I see the wings, I see the different pattern. He said, I see the eye of the bird. Means he was focused in his determination and his learning power. That similarly, this is the verse. Vivasatmika buddhir ekehe kuru nandana pahushakahi anantasya bodhayavyo avyavasayinam. Means intelligence which is resolute. Vivasatmika buddhi means resolute intelligence. One single-minded attention. Ekehe kuru nandana. The aim is one. The person whose intelligence is resolute, is determined, they only have one aim, and the aim is to serve Krishna. Bahushaka hi anantasya. Bahushaka means many, many branches of the intelligence. Bodhayo avyavasayina. That intelligence cannot focus on Krishna. So he's saying you're undecided because your intelligence is now divided into different subjects. Gather yourself and put your attention only on listening to my order. Vivasatmika buddhir. So in Krishna consciousness is a training to make our intelligence Vivasatmika buddhi. Buddhi means intelligence. Vivasatmika means one determination, resolute in purpose. AK means one. Guru Nandana is the name of Arjuna. So people who are dedicated to Krishna consciousness, devotees, they have a resolute intelligence. They're not looking at too many things. They're not chopped between too many things. No. So that is why, so he's saying you're undecided because of this. So come back and become Vivasatmika Buddhi. Okay. Now Krishna is going to talk about Sthita Dhir Muni. So now Arjuna asks, what is the sign of or symptom of a person who has a resolute intelligence? How does he talk? Who's transcendental? How does he talk? How does he walk? I'll bring the symptoms. So Arjuna is asking this. What are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? How does he walk? So 4 questions he asks here. Similar question is asked another time in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 14, verse number 21. Similar, Arjuna asks again. And in Srimad Bhagavatam also, similar question is asked in 4th canto, 3rd chapter, I think verse 26. So these are the questions he asked. So what are the symptoms of a Sthita Dhir Muni, or person whose intelligence is merged in Krishna consciousness, or in other words is Vyavasatmika Buddhi. He's not chopped between so many things. So in verse number 55 he asked what are the symptoms. 56 to 57 he asked how does he talk. 58 to 63 he asked how does he sit. And 64 to 72nd verse he asked how does he walk. So Arjuna wants to know, now how do I do this? So this is what Krishna says. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmani evadatmana tushtha sthita pragna tadochyate sthita pragna tada uchyate. That person who is enjoying the self, whose enjoyment is within, that is called sthita pragna. Tada uchyate is called as sthita pragna. The blessed Lord said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental Krishna consciousness. You see, Krishna consciousness is not so cheap. Is not so cheap. Krishna consciousness is a science. Like when someone enters a college, they have to pass certain exams, and then they can go to the next level. Then they have to pass a final exam, theory, practical, and then they come out, and then they have to find a job, and then they have to prove their ability. Similarly, Krishna consciousness is a science. We have to go through different levels of consciousness, our own consciousness, which we will discuss tomorrow. Tomorrow is my favorite chapter. 3rd chapter Karma Yoga, and 5th chapter is Karma Yoga, Krishna consciousness in action. So, Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire which arise from mental concoction, we are concocting. First, its mind has 3 functions: thinking, feeling, willing. It thinks, then there is a feeling generated from that thought, and then there is a determination made that I'm going to do it. This is explained in 18th chapter when we'll discuss. So, an action happens with the body. So, so Krishna is saying that that person is able to check the thought process itself. The thought itself is checked that I don't want anything else other than Krishna. And the analogy is given in this chapter of a turtle. The person who is situated in pure transcendental consciousness, they use their senses as a turtle. So turtle comes out of a shell, gathers what it wants in the world, and then goes back in the shell. Doesn't waste time looking here, looking there, watching this, watching that. No. Comes out with a focus, gets what it wants, goes back. Like that, a person who is in transcendental consciousness, they use their senses to gather what can be used for Krishna's service. And when it's done, they go back inside. Does anyone know who is this person? Who is this person? Because the next verse, next slides are very nice. Yes, Sita. Hare Krishna. Your name is so nice. Yes, Mataji, please unmute.
Hare Krishna, ma'am. Hare Krishna. This is Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes, nice. Thank you so much. Yes, this is from 7th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. Prahlad Maharaj was born to a demon father, Hiranyakashipu. So every day there was an execution on his life. Every day there was an execution. Why? Because he did not surrender and asked and accepted his father as the supreme personality of Godhead. Hiranyakashipu wanted him to accept Hiranyakashipu, as the God, as God. And Prahlad Maharaj said, no, You're not God. You're best of the demons, but you're not God. So then there was an execution on his life. Father only tried to kill him in so many ways. Dangerous weapons, poisonous animals, or putting him in the fire, right? But is he looking disturbed? I don't think so. This is a person in pure transcendental consciousness. Now, not to be copied. Please don't copy it. We don't copy the Mahabhagavatas. We follow them. There are two words, Anukaran and Anusharan. Anukaran means copying them, and Anusharan means taking their shelter so that they can give the mercy and change my heart also. So we take shelter of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is our guru. We cannot copy a guru. Okay, if somebody says Lord Shiva is smoking marijuana, okay, he kept the poison in his throat. Can you do that? Do that. One drop goes inside, the soul will leave the body. So please don't copy such personalities. And this is another Sthita Prajna, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was not disturbed when he was in America, when he was in all over the globe. It's not easy. Wherever he went, he started Krishna consciousness, Krishna consciousness, Krishna consciousness, temple after temple, preaching after preaching, books after books. Not easy. Actually, in Harvard, I was there. 2015, we celebrated 50th anniversary of Prabhupada of ISKCON in 2015. And Harvard, one very famous theologist, philosopher, was praising Srila Prabhupada. He was saying, we have gone back and researched in the history of religion from all over the world as much as 2,000 years. And we have not found anyone like Srila Prabhupada. He was comparing that Jesus Christ established Christianity, biggest cult followed all over the world. But he had disciples to help him. He was not alone to begin with. Mohammedan, they established Muslim religion all over the world, right? But they were not one, there were many. Like they were all like associating with each other, and there was a group of devotees. Srila Prabhupada was one, alone. He was alone. He was sitting from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. in the public park in New York, chanting Hare Krishna and attracting people. And that's how the movement was started. So that is Sthita Prajna. We can take shelter of Prabhupada and Prabhupada can give us the mercy. This is a very nice verse. Here Krishna is saying, right, when a man gives up a variety of sense and desire which arise from mental concoction, now Krishna is elaborating here more. This is the 8-step process of fall down, how somebody falls down. Dhyate vishyan punsaha sangaste sanjayate kama krodha vijayate krodhat bhavati sammoha smriti vibhrishita buddhi nashat pranashayati. I will explain. I'm sorry about the font. While contemplating the objects of senses, a person develops attachment from them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger develops. Contemplating the object of senses means thinking. We have given example here. Let's say a young boy sees a young girl, or a young girl sees a young boy. Now contemplation, thinking starts, can I be with them, right? From that contemplation, attachment develops. That see, contemplation and then attachment develops, that yes, we want to be together. And then from that attachment, lust develops. Lust is defined in scriptures. In scriptures, lust is defined as Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhupada describes lust in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. He describes Atma Indriya Tripti Vancha Taro Nam Kam. Krishnendriya Tripti Vancha Taro Nam Prem. So Atma Indriya Tripti Vancha. Atma Indriya means satisfying one's own senses. Taro Nam Kam. The activity that I'm doing to satisfy my own senses is called as lust. Krishnendriya Tripti Vancha Taro Nam Prem. Or activity which I'm doing to serve Krishna is called as love. So for example, any activity which I'm doing independent of Krishna is lust. For example, if I want to go to the market and enjoy Pani Puri without offering to Krishna, that's lust. If I have 10 saris and I want 200 more saris, that's lust. It's lust. So like that, a lust develops, means we want to enjoy. Then what happens? From lust, anger develops, because lust can never be satisfied. So, you know, these two people who did not even know each other, they come together, they get married. They were living through their life without each other for so long. Now they're married, then what happens? There fights, misunderstandings. Why? They did not even know each other. Now that they're together, they're fighting. Why are they fighting like cats and dogs? Because the lust is not satisfied, because there is no Krishna in the life. And from anger, delusion develops. You know, a delusion means that a person's memory becomes cloudy. Bewilderment of memory happens, and means that we cannot understand that who is who. I'll explain. And then memory is lost, then intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, then one falls down again. Meaning that, let's say that these people are fighting, and now they lose their whole system becomes cloudy, and they forget who's who. I have seen so many times, like people beat up each other, like domestic violence or child abuse. Why is it happening? The children or women or even the man, they are object of compassion, right? Why are we hitting each other? Why are they hitting each other? Why are they hitting? Because their own desires are not fulfilled. So what happens? Delusion happens. Then what happens? The memory is lost. They forget who's who. They forget who, this is a small child, this is my wife, or this is my husband. So forget. Only thing that's remaining is that I want to do this, right? Because the intelligence is lost, and then they fall down and they commit sinful activities. And so this is the this is a very scientific 8-step fall down, how one commits sinful activity. Objects of senses come in touch with the senses, then attachment develops. From attachment, lust develops. Lust is never satisfied. When it is not satisfied, it leads to anger. And then from anger, delusion develops. From delusion, bewilderment of memory. And from bewilderment of memory, loss of intelligence. And from loss of intelligence, one falls down. So there is a whole process this is going on before one commits sinful activity. So Krishna is saying, check it at the very beginning. Where? Concoction. Here. Check it here. And a person who is Krishna conscious or who is trying to be Krishna conscious will be able to check it here. Others cannot. Radhanath Maharaj, one very great sannyasi in ISKCON, he says, anger is one word less than danger. Okay, so this finishes our summary of second chapter. Too many concepts introduced. Compassion, Arjuna says, revision again, that I'm not going to fight, and Krishna gives him the knowledge, the jnana, that what are you saying? You're applying compassion to the body, but your grandfather is the soul, for example, from verse 11 to 38. Then no enjoyment, then 31 to 37. He gives karma kand answer, that you will enjoy, either you die or you will win, or you win. Either ways, there is enjoyment waiting. Then, okay, Krishna, this is sinful. Krishna gives intelligence that Vyavasatmika, Swalpam apiyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss, no diminution. Devotional service is sinless. For example, I gave example of Lord Hanuman burning the Lanka, or Vibhishan going against Ravana. And then Sthitadhir Muni described how does he walk, how does he talk, how does he sit, what are his symptoms. And he gave another reason for not fighting, indecision. And Krishna says, serve the Lord with firm determination. Vyavasatmika buddhi eke kuru nandana. Don't chop your intelligence here and there. Gather yourself and come back. Then destruction of the dynasty. Next chapter he's going to describe. Be a role model to prevent Varna Shankara. Okay. So these are some of the things you can note down. The quiz. You have to go to this website. I will share in WhatsApp. understandgeeta.teachable.com, and all the quizzes and all the PDF of all the slides that I'm showing is over there. So please go and make an account, and this is and you will take the quiz, and at the end you will be able to get your own certificate right away. Okay, this is a teaching app. Then you can email me, because we have very less time every day, and the class size is very big. So email me with your questions, ugenglish20@gmail.com. And you can watch our recordings on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, ISKCON Radha Govinda Temple, Mangalore. The recordings will be uploaded there. okay, of the classes. And English class, Namanishta Prabhu takes 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. and 7 p.m. class. I take 3 p.m. class. The link is the same. It's the same classroom link for Zoom. Okay. Okay. So I want to show one before we stop. I showed it to my class yesterday. Whoever was in my breakout room, please bear with me. I want to show this Prabhupada's lecture before we take some questions. The co-host, please let me know if you can hear. This is Srila Prabhupada. He was interviewed by BBC after Los Angeles Rath Yatra. Okay?
Okay.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
You founded the Hare Krishna movement some 7 years ago in 1967, did you not?
Yes.
In a capsule, what is the movement?
The movement is to awaken God consciousness of the human being. The human being is distinguished from the animals, that the animals cannot understand what is God.
Mm-hmm.
And if the human being also does not understand what is God, then he is animal.
I see. And so your movement is to bring about an understanding of God among human beings.
Yes.
And Hare Krishna means what?
Hare Krishna means addressing the energy of God. Hare means the energy of God, and Krishna means God.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You were here yesterday and to attend your annual festival that was held here in Golden Gate Park, and we were there too. And in fact, here it is. A few thousand people came out to hear it. How many people are now disciples of the Krishna consciousness movement?
Dedicated life, about 10,000.
About 10,000 dedicated
in
ones.
the Western world.
Mm-hmm. Your Grace, is there any significance at all in the shaved head? Why are heads shaved?
We keep ourselves very clean, that's all.
Oh, it's just a cleanliness thing?
Yes.
Is there any significance in the color of the robe?
At least at the present moment, people think that by keeping long hair, it becomes very beautiful.
I see.
Yes. So we are against it.
Mm-hmm. Just as simple as that. Is there any significance in the yellow robes?
Yellow robe is the dress, those who are dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It could very well have been a blue robe. It's something that was arrived at.
This saffron.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Your Grace, why do you feel that so many people are pulling away from the traditional religions in this country, such as Christianity and so forth, and going for the trying to understand the Eastern religions? We hear a lot of swamis and gurus and other type of yogi and so forth. Why do you feel that people are pulling away from the traditional Christian standards here?
But we see that the Christian churches, especially I have seen in London, mostly closed. People are not interested, or the Christian leaders, they cannot make them interested.
Why? Did Christianity fail the people, which is why they're turning to other things? Or?
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You say that Hare Krishna consciousness pretty much takes the absolute truths from the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and the Vedic.
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Religion means to understand God.
I understand, but do you feel that in getting truths from various places like the Bible and the Quran and so forth, don't you run into conflicts at all or contradictions in those particular philosophies?
No, I don't find any conflict, because the ultimate goal is God. So you have to understand God and try to love Him. So you can go through any religious process. If the goal is attained, that you understand what is goal, and you try to love Him, then your life is perfect.
Why do we see so many of your followers chanting almost all the time?
Chanting means to keep association with God always.
So you have to audibly chant Hare Krishna?
Yes. This is transcendental vibration. Just like a radio message. If you keep contact with the radio message, then you know everything what is going on outside. Similarly, this transcendental sound, Hare Krishna, if you chant, then you keep connection with God directly.
Thank you very much, Your Divine Grace. It's been our privilege to talk with you and to meet you.
Thank you.
And hope that we can see you again when you return.
Hare Krishna.
So that's Srila Prabhupada. Very direct. Okay, so I will stop the share. Now, are my co-hosts here? I'm going to open up the chat. Rohan, Ashwarya.
Yes, Mother.
Okay, so Rohan, Ashwarya, Kalavati Mataji. Okay, so where are the breakout rooms? Breakout rooms, Haribol. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 rooms. This breakout room gives me goosebumps. I'm going to break out the rooms for 10 minutes and then we're going to come back. Okay, 10 minutes by the clock. Okay, you're going to have a co-host with all of you. So here we go. Okay, so are we in the breakout rooms? Yes? So how many people I have? Okay, yes, Hare Krishna. So any questions? You can raise your hand and I can request you to unmute. I think everybody is assigned. Just once. You know, this is a very new concept. Yes, any questions? Yes, Rashmi Mataji, Vanishtha Mataji. Yes, Mataji. You can write Lakshita Chanda Mataji. Yes, Mataji. You have any questions? Yes, Mataji. Rashmi Mataji, you are unmuted. You can ask me questions. We have 10 minutes together.
Yes, Mataji. The 3 ways in which you had explained that one is that we assume God as light, then the Paramatma. I didn't understand about the second way, how we realize God. The third one is by realizing God as a person. What is the middle one? What is it about Paramatma? I didn't understand that part. How do people realize God as Paramatma? What is the difference between observing God as a light and observing God as a person? What is that Paramatma thing?
Yes, yes. So thank you for asking. So there are 3 levels of God realization. Brahman iti, Paramatma iti, Bhagwan iti Shabdate. So just 1 second. What breakout room are we in? Can you see what breakout room are we in? Anyway, so what happens is that somebody is saying that God is energy, right? They are not saying that God has formed Krishna is living in Goloka Vrindavan. They want to understand Krishna as energy. So Krishna says, okay, then Brahman effulgence is waiting. But actually Brahman effulgence is nothing but the light coming from the body of Krishna. And then the yogis who are meditating, they are meditating on the Paramatma feature, right? The God in the heart. But that God in the heart, as we will discuss later in 7th chapter, 8th chapter, and 11th chapter Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna expands himself into Karanadaksha Vishnu, or Mahavishnu. And then Mahavishnu's breathing universes come out. And then Mahavishnu enters each and every universe as Garbhadaksha Vishnu. And Garbhadaksha Vishnu gives rise to Brahma. And then Brahma gives rise to all living entities. And Garbhadaksha Vishnu enters into each and every living entity as Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So Kshirodaksha Vishnu is what Paramatma is. Like, it is also not real form of God. Real form of God is Krishna. But Paramatma feature is better than Brahman realization. There is some form conception, there is some relationship that you can have with God. But Bhagwan feature is the most exalted. It's also stated, Ete cha anshakala punsa Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Means Ete cha anshakala punsa means this is in 2nd and 3rd chapter of 1st canto Bhagavatam. That all these expansions are nothing but all these expansions are coming out from Krishna. Ete cha anshakala pumsa, but Krishna is to Bhagwan Swayam, but Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. So Paramatma feature is also not the real feature. The real feature is Krishna, but it is better than Brahman feature. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
This is Pallavi. My
Mataji.
question is how we constantly stay in the mode of Maya and really suffering from the confusion of Maya and reality. So how to stay in reality for 24/7, or how to that this is Maya and this is reality, illusion and reality.
Yes. So how do you stay? Reality means Krishna consciousness, and Maya means forgetfulness of Krishna consciousness. Maya means that which is not. The word Maya means that which is not. Accepting something for something. For example, if someone sees a rope, Prabhupada gives this example, and the person mistakes the rope for snake. Actually, where is the snake? The snake is in the head. That's rope. So you are mistaking something for something. So wherever there is Krishna, there is no Maya. There is this verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Srila Prabhupada often quoted. Krishna Surya Sama Maya hai andhakar, jahan Krishna taha nahi Maya adhikar. So wherever there is Krishna, there is no question of Maya. So how do you do that? You do that by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, by associating with devotees, by serving Krishna. For example, whatever activity we are doing in everyday life can be dovetailed in Krishna consciousness. We are cooking. We can cook for Krishna. We are eating. We can eat as a food which was offered to Krishna. We are living in a house. We are reading. We are like associating as family. We can associate and enrich each other's life with Krishna consciousness. Everything is doable. So you have to inject Krishna in your life. You're a doctor, right?
Wow, thanks a lot, Mataji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Yes, anybody else?
Ma'am?
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hare Krishna.
Ma'am. Hare Krishna, ma'am. Once, can you repeat your email ID?
Yes, it's UG, understand Gita, English, that 20@gmail.com. I will put it in the description of all the groups. One second. This is my email ID.
Yes, ma'am. You can continue telling now.
UG English, you can see that 20@gmail.com. Okay, anybody has any other questions in the meantime? We have 3 minutes. Yes. Can I ask a question? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna come back. Yes, Arvind Tilanga. Hare Krishna. Yes, you can unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, madam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, madam. Madam, is really evils are there opposite to the God's power?
What is there?
Evil power, devil power.
The ghosts and spirits, yes, they're there because they are sinful living entities. Everybody, in fact, yes. Yeah, because they want to be there. The only reason they're there is because they want to be there.
Who is controlling the demons, and who is giving the power to demons?
Krishna.
Again Krishna?
Yeah, who else? Who else will give it? Who else do you want to give?
Why you want to give the bad characters and good characters to everyone?
No, Krishna does not. That we are going to discuss in 3rd chapter, 5th chapter, and 11th chapter. Krishna does not cause anyone to act in a certain way. He does not cause anyone to act in certain way. Is not the reason for behind the action that we are doing. Is not assuming anyone's sinful or good actions. We are choosing. There is an element of free will. For example, this because it's a relationship. There are 5 A's needed in any good relationship. What are the 5 A's needed? Well, let me see if I remember. Affection, right? Acceptance, attention, alliance, and appreciation. So alliance means, for example, if I want to have a good relationship with my child, I cannot direct every activity that he does. I cannot say, okay, now you have eaten food, go and wash your plate. Okay, now you have washed your plate, now go and sit down there. Okay, now you have sat down there, now open your book, page number this, and read. Okay, the reading is over. Now tell me what you read. So see, there's no independence. Whenever there is a relationship, there is a need for independence for both the parties. So Krishna gives that free will. for us to choose what we want to choose. Krishna acts as Upadrishta Anumanta. 17th chapter he says Upadrishta Anumanta. He acts as a overseer and a permitter. So what it means, for example, the Shastras give example that there is a tree and then there are two birds sitting on the tree. One bird is very busy in eating the fruits of the tree. That is compared to the soul in this material world. And then there is another bird who is patiently waiting. When will this bird turn towards me? So that is Krishna. And if you read second chapter, Prabhu, you will see there are 3 levels of friendship described: Surat, Mitra, and Bandhu. Surat means best friend, Mitra means a friend, and social acquaintances, and Bandhu means just a friend. So Krishna is Surat, best friend. Krishna comes in heart. If I become a worm in the stool of next life, Krishna will come with me there also, because I'm so dear to him. So Krishna does not cause anyone to act in a certain way. We have to choose our actions because we have that independence. So someone is bad.
One more question. Ma'am, one more question.
Yes.
Ma'am, which prasad do Sri Krishna will like? Which prasadam?
Yes. So 10th chapter he says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. Patram means leaf, but Pushpam means flower, Phalam means fruit, Toyam means liquid or water or juices. So anything that is belonging to these 4 categories is what Krishna likes. Okay. 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 I can take one more question. Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, what are the 4 A's? 5 A's?
I don't know if I remember. This is from philosophy. This is not from Krishna consciousness. But acceptance. Both the parties, if I have to have a very good relationship with anybody, my children, my colleague, or my family, my parents, or my neighbors, there are 5 ways needed: acceptance, appreciation, alliance, affection, attention. Okay. Okay, Samarth Biradar. Yes, I can take your question last and we will.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I was there in breakout room 3. There is no one as host over there. So 80 people are waiting over there.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to break out the rooms now. Okay.
Okay,
so
Mataji.
I'm going to close all the rooms. Okay. Hare Krishna. Can you all hear me? Hare Krishna. Is everyone here back? Rohan, Ashwarya, Kalavati, Mataji. People are still coming.
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So I just wanted to be careful about the time. I'm sorry. So,
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Yes.
So everyone.
Some people had questions.
What, Mataji?
You can take. Some people have questions, Mataji. You can take it if they, or the time is over.
Yes, so they can email us, and I can share the email detail with all of you, so you can also log into the email and answer the questions. Rohan already has it. Kalavati Mataji will give it to her. Okay. Sorry, it's a very big class, and if we have to be careful about the time. So tomorrow is a very nice chapter. Please read the translation, at least translation, if not the whole chapter. It's a very nice chapter. Tomorrow the real movie starts. Okay. Third break room had no co-host. Rohan, are you still there? The people are
yes, Mataji, I'm here.
Kalavati Mataji, are you back?
Yes, Mataji, I'm here.
Okay, sorry, I had to break because the time, yesterday the class went for 2 hours and poor Aishwarya, I left.
Mataji, can you add my name in WhatsApp group, Mataji? So I can share whatever the information they want.
Yes, we can add you. Yes, I can add you. Okay, so we will meet tomorrow, everyone. Mancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripasindhubhya evacha, patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha. Rantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for participation, everybody. I'm very privileged to have you all.